What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be doing a story time about one of the most life-changing, most memorable moments that's occurred in my life, and really just the psychological metamorphosis that came from it. Some of you guys may be familiar with it already, but it was my knee surgery, my very first knee injury. So if you're interested in that, fasten your seatbelts, let's go! Alright, so the story begins at Youth Nationals in 2018. I competed as a 15-year-old and in the 61 kilo class, and I had a great meet, went 6 for 6, got all PRs and swept gold. And of course I was overjoyed, felt no pain, feeling great. And then I got to the hotel room a few hours after my performance and I felt bad knee pain, like unbearable, wanted to cry knee pain. And I kind of just shook it off and assumed it was just post-meet pains and I was getting old. So after that, a few weeks went by and it would kind of come back a little bit, but not nearly as bad. So it was like, what is this? I've never had a major injury before in my career, so I didn't really know what it was. But whenever it flared up, I would just lower down the volume and the weight and just do what I could. But really in August to September, it came back the pain came back a little bit stronger. I would have pain in my right knee whenever I'd work out or really just go heavy. But I would try to kind of push through that and do what I could, lay off when it was hurting, but when I was feeling good to keep going, because in September I had the AO3 meet, American Open Series 3 in Las Vegas, and this meet was the last meet to put up a number to qualify for the Youth Worlds meet. Now keep in mind, I had never made an international team. It's been one of my biggest goals since the beginning. So at this time, I was super hungry for it and I really wanted to make this team. So despite lackluster preparation, I went ham, did my thing. It wasn't my best meet. I made 4 out of my 6 lifts. I think it was a 2 kilo competition PR, but nothing crazy. And then literally the day after I competed, I was limping bad. My knee was in so much pain that I was walking around the venue watching other lifters while limping, and that was the most concerning thing and kind of the thing that pushed me over the edge to go see the doctor. So I took a break from lifting for a little while. Usually I take about a week or 2 break after meets anyways. So I took a break from lifting and decided to go see a doctor for an MRI. So after a pretty short period of time, I got the results back and my doctor told me that I had torn my lateral meniscus in my right leg in multiple places. So with this injury, really my only option that wasn't guaranteed arthritis when you're older is to receive a meniscal repair. So basically they're just gonna go in my knee arthroscopically and kind of put sutures in it to get it to heal back into place. But the difference between this surgery and other meniscal surgeries is that you're not just cutting it out, so you have to give the meniscus an opportunity to heal back together, which meant a much longer and tedious recovery period. So literally I got a surgery like a week or 2 after my MRI results, just because I needed to get my surgery over with, done with, so I could compete at Worlds if I qualified. But I don't think I realized just how much was gonna go into the recovery process. So I went through with my surgery, everything went well. It took a little longer than they were expecting. I think they were expecting like 45-minute procedure, but it ended up being 2 to 3 hours, but luckily everything was okay. But I didn't realize it was gonna be a massive struggle, was that I was gonna have to be in crutches for 6 weeks. Now this 6 weeks felt like at least 6 months. Each day went by so slow. I couldn't stand not lifting, but even more than that, I couldn't stand just inactivity. Everything was more complicated, everything was harder, and just sitting around all day, watching TV, playing video games, that's just not really my style. I wanted to be doing something active. Open PS4.
Going to PS4.
Because I felt satisfaction from being drained after a workout or feeling that soreness in my muscles. So I was a little bit lost. And not only was it difficult for me in that sense with the crutches, but just going from youth national champion a few months prior to needing help opening doors from my classmates, struggling to go to the bathroom, having to sit down in the shower, all of that took a toll on me mentally and was more demoralizing than I previously thought it would be. I can recall just sweating at night because of the big wrap and the big brace around my leg, and I remember being in pain when I would try to sleep on my side, so I'd have to sleep on my back, which I never did, which was so weird. Also, I can recall some of the struggles with crutches at school, slipping on pee with my crutches in the bathroom, or someone accidentally bumping my crutches and I actually fell down once, which was not fun, and struggling to get an elevator key from administration, and I would try to hobble up the stairs so I wouldn't be late to class, and all of it was just not fun at all. And from the physical struggles and the psychological struggles, I developed a sense of doubt that I would be able to ever come back from my injury ever again, and just the thought of getting under a max attempt and just going so deep into a squat seemed almost implausible to me, and that kind of just crushed me. And just going through all of those struggles really put me in one of the most depressive states I've ever been in my life. It was just hard, and I could remember breaking down, telling my mom that I just wanted to walk again. I went from clean and jerking 255 pounds to not even be able to walk by myself. It was not good, but from these struggles, from these obstacles, I tried to smile as much as I could and just be positive so no one else would have to worry about me. I wanted to maintain a smile on my face so everyone was like, wow, he's getting through it, he's doing good. And I think just maintaining the positive attitude kind of helped me propel myself back to where I wanted to be, and even more so. The best analogy I can use to describe kind of the comeback process is to muscle growth. So obviously when you work out, your muscle fibers tear, except then when they come back together, they come back bigger and better and stronger. And that's kind of how I was. I was forced to just sit back and be a student of lifting, and I was lucky enough that Senior Worlds was being streamed at the same time of like the heart of my surgery. So I literally watched like every session, every day, just being in awe of their technique as I was sitting there icing my leg, and I took a step back and realized that I wasn't going to be able to progress physically, but I dang sure can mentally. So not only did I really become a student of the game technically, but I developed this new sense of urgency and resolve to get back and just do what everyone else isn't doing. I vowed to put myself in such a good position that when I come back that I just blow everyone out the water, because even unable to lift, I was progressing more so than other people were, if that makes sense. So one byproduct of these student tendencies was my morning routine. So every morning, no matter the day of the week, no matter how much pain I was in, I'd wake up at 7 a.m. exactly. And I would get out of bed, and first I would meditate for 10 minutes. And I wasn't super into meditating prior to my surgery, but I wanted the mental game to be on lock. So I would meditate, and then after I'd meditate, I would stretch, and I would go through the same stretch routine every day. That would take really about 20-25 minutes, just so that everything is moving as I hoped it to be. Then after I stretched, I would go through a workout, and I would alternate between 2 workouts that I would write based on physical therapy exercises that I would look up or be assigned. And I would go through like a 15-20 minute workout trying to do as much strengthening exercises as I could. And all in all, my morning routine took about an hour long, and then finally, after I finished that, I'd be able to leave my room. And just this alone, power through that, gave me a new sense of confidence and just willpower to go ham on everyone else. And really, that's where my hunger to just be better than anyone that I'm faced with came about. And the progress that I found from that morning routine alone came in flexibility, where before my surgery, I couldn't even touch my toes while keeping my legs straight. I was able to reach all the way down, rest my head on my knees. I was able to do the splits, and I was super flexible, super nimble, because again, I wanted to do everything that I possibly could in that instance. And aside from that, strength-wise, I was able to get through PT faster than expectations because I was doing physical therapy every day in the morning at home anyway, so the strength kind of came back in the way that I wanted it to. And so then the real build-up came when I was released from my knee brace, I was released from crutches, and I was able to slowly start lifting again. And it was a wake-up call, not being able to lift what I thought I could, but at that point I developed the patience and just the tunnel vision to know that all of this is temporary and that once I come back, I'm gonna be a threat for real. So a significant event in my recovery was the Super Saturday meets that my coach Brian would host at the Vero Beach gym. And I would go down to Vero Beach and he would put on small in-house meets, usually just the team, and it would almost be like a competition, and I would max my best power snatch, my best clean and jerk there, and it showed me again that I'm still a competitor and that, yo, you got this for real. So after that, I ended up qualifying for Youth Worlds in March, just before my birthday, and I was fortunate to experience my first international meet. That was in Las Vegas. I still really got a sense of the Team USA feel and just interacting with other countries, and really the only difference was that I couldn't go as low as I wanted to in my squats, and I had to power jerk. But despite that, I didn't get last place. I had a good meet and I was happy with that. But my road to recovery wasn't fully done in my eyes. The real peak that I was looking for was Youth Nationals. And Youth Nationals was in the summer, so I had quite a bit of time to keep on with my morning routine. I started journaling and just trying to up my strength. And between Youth Worlds and Youth Nationals, my gains in my legs went up abundantly. Like, I was squatting PRs that was never expected, and my flexibility compared to before the surgery was just off the charts. I was recovering better because I was introduced to recovery techniques and consistency with those recovery techniques due to my injury. So when it was time, 100% of my focus was being able to win Youth Nationals just less than a year after my knee surgery. And my competitors didn't make it easy. I actually had a battle with a competitor for one of the first times, and I just knew that I was gonna do whatever I could to win. I was able to win Youth Nationals in 2019, and in Anaheim, California, and that was my real comeback meet. I feel like that meet was the exclamation point to my recovery journey. I hit all-time PRs, and I was able to share the platform with 2 of my friends, and so that meet right there was just one of the best meets really in my eyes. During this time, I wasn't super vocal, or I didn't really disclose much on my Instagram or any of my social medias due to the reason that I wanted my comeback to be a surprise, but also I kind of wanted to put social media aside and just be in the zone with my focus to perform the best I could. So hopefully this gave you guys some insight that maybe you're curious about with my knee injury and recovery. Hopefully it maybe inspires some. Anytime I see anyone go through a devastating injury, I can't help but think back to the pains that I felt, but also just the massive growth that came of it, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. That being said, I love you guys, and stay tuned for next Monday. New post every Money Moves Monday. Let me know if you guys like the story times, cause I have plenty of stories. I'm down to sit down with y'all and talk about those. So like, comment down below if you're a fan. Also, if you disliked it, you can still like it, and catch y'all at 9 a.m. Why don't you go ahead and make some money moves, why don't you?